Hey, what's going on, guys? Hex here, and today we're taking a look at the Super 7 Masters of the Universe Classics Filmation Tri-Klops. You can find this figure and many others like it at Big Bad Toy Store. Just follow the link in the description. Alright, giving you guys a little 360 of him. Comes with the figure, obviously the blaster and the sword. One thing that I noticed that was a little bit different, I don't know, I didn't have the original, Classics figure, so I don't know if he had a little sheath to put the sword in. But I remember that my, the original from the 80s did have that. So I don't know if that's something that they maybe had on the classics and they took it away to make it a little bit more cartoon accurate, or if they just did without that from the beginning. But that's one thing that I noticed. The other thing that apparently a lot of people in the forums brought up is that this green is a lot kind of brighter or lighter green than the one that we had in the actual cartoon. But they said that whenever you put that figure next to the original classics figure, that the greens were too similar, and the figures looked too similar standing next to each other, so they wanted to break them up a little bit more, so they decided to go with this a little bit brighter and lighter green. They also said that whenever they look at the Filmation cells, that it was this brighter green, that it just apparently appeared on the cartoon as a darker green. So regardless, I'm happy with it. I think it looks cool. I actually like the brighter green than the dark, just because I think it ties in nice with the orange little accents that you have here at the belt and on the cuff. So, I'm just a fan of it. So there you go. But anyways, one of the things that I also wanted to bring up is I thought that this maybe would have the little gimmick. It would have been nice if they could have fit that in there somehow, to where you could spin this top portion around so that you could get the different eyes, so you can kind of see them right there. I remember that it was always kind of a little cool feature on the original toy, but still, or it'd come with an additional head, one that, like this, and then another head where you could have that spinning feature. I think would have been kind of cool. So, but anyways, take a look at the accessories. You get two here. So, excuse me, the first one being this kind of blaster pistol, which that's not really all that interesting, but if it's to make it look accurate to the cartoon, then, all good. And then you have the sword, which very cool looking. You can see that it's silver all throughout here. It's kind of a soft rubbery plastic. I'm glad. I like it whenever they're kind of like a mix in between this. So it is solid to where it will stay there. It's not going to be bent over or anything like that, like laying, kind of falling down, because it's too rubbery, but not too stiff to where I can move it like this and don't have to worry about it breaking, because there are some figures that come with swords that just the slightest little touch like this, it'll break. So you can see that it will move a little bit there. You can see a little bit of silver here at the tip. You can see the gold throughout the handle and also up here, and you can see like some nice engravings on both sides as well. So I think that looks pretty cool. Moving on to the figure to get a little bit better look at the face sculpt. I like it. I think it looks good. I like his kind of like weird looking haircut that he had. Obviously this was based off 80s, so some of us did have hair like that. Not me, but I think it looks good. All the eyes, they look kind of cool. They're all the eyes are brown. I noticed that all three of the eyes are brown, and if I remember correctly on the toy, I think one was brown, one was red, and I don't know, was the other one yellow or something? Or I can't remember. So I haven't had that figure in whatever 30 years, so it's hard for me to base it just off that memory. But would have been cool if they would have painted like one of these red. I think that one was supposed to be red or something. So anyways, this little armor piece right here, you can see that this is kind of a soft rubbery material, like that. So it can move with him. Also soft rubbery material, kind of down here, so you can move the legs. And then whenever we come to articulation, let's go ahead and focus that in. The head, every time I try to like move the head down, it just kind of pops back up into, so it doesn't really stay down, looking down. If you wanted to look down at someone, it just keeps on kind of popping up. Not really an issue, just, something to bring up. You do have some rotation in there, basically back and forth. The shoulders, nice, tight. Again, It's one of those things to where you can see that I can move it with ease, but at the same time, like, it's not falling down, so it's not loose. It's just kind of the perfect in between. Same thing going back and forth. The biceps, you know, they're a little bit more loose, but at no point do I think that it's just going to start, you know, just turning, like if I had his arm out here, that it'll just kind of fall or anything like that. So I think it's nice, pretty good. The elbows, man, they're solid. The second figure that I've opened out of the Super 7 Wave, Hordak elbows were solid. Tri-Klops elbows are really solid as well. Wrist rotation, good. Left to right with ease. Don't feel like I'm going to break anything. Same thing over here. Shoulder good. Bicep, about the same. Elbow, solid. Going left to right with the wrist and rotation with ease. I don't feel like that's going to snap going left to right. Then you have an ab crunch on him as well. It's a little bit loose. Would have been nice if there was like some notches in there, so to kind of catch at certain points, but it's just, you know, free flowing to where it'll move back and forth. Waist feels pretty good, and the legs to where on Hordak, the leg fell down pretty easily here, as stays up pretty nicely. Same thing on this one. Forward's nice and tight. Back's nice and tight. The thigh cuts, they feel nice and tight. You can even hear this one. The knees, really solid again. All these elbow and knee joints on all the figures, they feel really good. And you can kind of see that there. The boots, they feel good. Feel like they should move as they, you know, supposed to. The ankles on this one, where I complimented the Hordak figure to where if I could feel the notches, you know, like you just had to, you know, get it past to the next notch. To where this one, I can feel those notches, but they're very light, and I can see that this thing is a little bit more loose. The same thing over here. So, also the going left to right to get that, you know, little ankle turn doesn't seem very forgiving. So, they're kind of just setting straight. So that, you know, those are the only little things that I see as far as, you know, joints and stuff, or at least on my particular figure. You got to keep in mind that the things that I said, like, hey, these things are super tight and they feel good, that could be the complete opposite with the figure that you get in your hand. The things that I said, like the ankles a little bit loose, they could be like Hordak's ankles, where they feel perfect. You know, so it's a case-by-case basis. So all I can do is tell you, you know, what, you know, little things that I find on my figure, so that I can give you, you know, the best information possible, so that you can decide if this is something that you want to, you know, spend your money on or not. So, but anyways, you know, I like the figure. I'm glad that Super 7's doing these. Super 7, by the way, Thundercats. Just saying, you know, still some people out there supporting the Thundercats if you guys want to make them. But anyways, there's Tri-Klops. Happy to add him, you know, to my little small Skeletor group of misfits. So anyways, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.